and welcome to the Omni Coalition News Show, aka TOCNS. Where is this my script? I think this is my script. Yeah. Actually, no, I screwed up. Hold on a second. Where's my base script? Here it is. The show's an amalgam of strange, weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, and otherwise things you don't normally see anymore from most news sources these days. During a time of political overabundance and divisiveness, we present you with more unifying topics to discuss for the most part. For links to the articles, the music done by Carrera, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Xander, and today I am joined by...
The Slayer.
And?
Protoblob.
Yeah. Alright.
Big Blob.
Big Blob.
We talked at the same time.
Yeah. Alright. Well, let's jump on to the news, shall we? Mr. Blob, do you want to read this one since you found it? Or since your friend found it?
Yeah, a doctor is sentenced in Germany to prison for issuing mask exemptions.
What the what?
A German doctor was sentenced late Monday to 2 years and 9 months in prison for illegally issuing more than 4,000 exemptions, actually it's 4,247, from wearing masks during the coronavirus pandemic. A regional court in the southwestern town of Weinheim confirmed Tuesday that the doctor was convicted of issuing incorrect health certificates to people from across Germany, most of whom she had never met or examined. In addition to the prison sentence, she was handed a 3-year work ban and ordered to pay 28,000 euros. That's around around $29,550. The sums she had received for issuing the medical certificates. Her office assistant was fined 2,700 euros. So the office assistant got 90 days of 30 euros. That's her income.
Well, dang. So, like, so I thought they were going after her, but she was doing things illegally, like, you know, really illegally. So I don't know where to stand on this. Like, first off, like, why are mask exemptions even a thing? You know, like that, like, all this mandate crap needs to stop. You know, like, seriously.
She was known politically for being against the mask mandates, and she also went to the courts and up to the constitutional court, but she was struck down there.
Well, it sucks, you know.
So, I mean, she was, how do you say, not suing, but the equivalent in civil, or against the mask mandate.
Okay, so she was like some kind of like civil suit.
She was contesting the mandates on the constitutional court.
And I'm gonna say this fine, you know, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like, you know, especially with the, you know, how extremes, you know, the powers that be are willing to go. They're kind of letting her off pretty easily with only a $30,000 fine or 28,000 euro.
No, that's not the fine. That's the money she made from the illegal sales. She also got an additional fine, but the amount is not disclosed here.
All right.
Oh no, that's no. I read it wrong. No,
yeah.
It's the only the person who worked for her. She got that fine.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's move on up here. More from the Western Journal. An absolute miracle. Adults and 2 young children survive after Tesla plunges off a 250-foot cliff. So I wonder if the things I've been talking about, if you don't mind me taking this one here. This is yet another choice from the blog. The most wonderful time of the year often necessitates a lot of driving. To parties, family reunions, last-minute grocery runs, and all manner of Christmas and New Year's activities, it's a busy time on the road, and drives that are already dangerous are often more perilous than usual thanks to increased traffic or inclement weather. It's unclear just yet what caused a horrific crash for one group driving along the PCH, Pacific Coast Highway in Northern California, or as I call them, NoCal, in a section known as the Devil's Slide on Monday morning, but it's a miracle they survived. Oh, man. Two adults and two children, aged 9 and 4, were in the Tesla sedan when it went off the road in a spot that doesn't have a guardrail. The car then plummeted around 250 feet down the cliffside, potentially flipping multiple times before landing right side up on the rocks, wedged against the cliff. Oh my Christ, bro! Like, look at that. Hey, let me bigger the picture here if I can. Let's see here. Oh, that's just gonna take me to a Facebook post. Here we go. So wow, so they survived that. Holy crap. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Like, that car is destroyed. Whoosh. So, it continues on. When rescue teams were called at around 10:15 in the morning, they had little hope that any of the passengers were alive. The Devil's Slide is notorious for taking lives, and the firefighters who responded assumed the people inside were dead. Battalion Chief Brian Pottinger with the Coastside Fire Protection District of Cal/Fire told the Associated Press, according to KKTV, quote, we go there all the time for cars over the cliff and they never live, Pottinger said. This is an absolute miracle, end quote. So, yeah, for further reading on this article, please refer to the underbar of the description for links to this and the previous and all future articles we will be discovering or disclosing about today, or reading, I don't know what word I'm trying to say. But that is absolutely insane. So, like, they need to count their lucky stars. They got a big break like that with that. So, and I would say don't buy another Tesla. Buy something that requires fuel. So, anyway, Brados, do you want to read this one from another one from the Western Journal?
Yeah, sure. Before I do, about cars. What I think all cars should be required to have is a 5-point seatbelt. Because those 2-point aren't doing hardly anything. They're not really helping you. They're not really saving you hardly at all. Like, they are not safe.
5-point seat.
Like,
let me see.
They're the ones that they use when they race, like the 5-point harness. Those things. They are arguably the safest seatbelt. Like, if you were to fall down a cliff or something, like how that family did, you would be more likely to survive with that thing around you.
Well, yes and
you
no,
would hardly
because also, like, if you fall and stuff, the best thing to do is just to ragdoll yourself, and that's the best way to survive any type of crash. And if you're harnessed in like that, because, like, you know, there's nowhere you can ragdoll to really in a race car. Yeah. But, like, if you're falling off a cliff or something, you know, if you can't ragdoll, then, you know, a piece of metal can, like, hit you in the head that your head would otherwise be in another place. I don't know. Like, arguments could be made, you know, for both pro and against seatbelts. You know, for various reasons.
Mostly, you want to let your head move around. But with your arms, you do not want them getting broken. Put them near your chest. Keep them up against your chest. Hold them tight. Do not let your arms flop around, or they will get broken.
Yeah.
It's not a threat, it's not a threat or anything. It's just the truth.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I would prefer a 5-point seatbelt. Honestly, you know, that is a good idea. So.
What do you mean by it's not a threat? You're not going to all the car crash victims and
like, I'm gonna make you wear a 2-point seatbelt so you get ejected.
Well, anyway, let's continue on here.
Anywho, yeah. A Canada goose trapped in frozen sand, about to be euthanized when fire department shows up.
Huh.
When Gretchen Worley from LaPorte, Indiana, I don't know why they dox, what the heck, stop doxing, spots an animal in need. She doesn't hesitate to give it to her all. So when she found out a goose frozen in the sand at Indiana Dunes State Park, she went out to help. An avid animal rescuer, Worley chronicled the attempted rescue on her Facebook page after arriving on site on the frigid shore of Lake Michigan. Quote, sitting on ice at Indiana Dunes State Park, this goose is deep in the ice, end quote. That's what she wrote on December 26th. Quote, I have a bunch of salt all the way around him, 3 blankets, and part of my body trying to melt him out. It started snowing now, and I'm really getting worried I'll not be able to get him out, end quote.
Alright, so we see here, let me bigger this here, so we have she wrapped it in a blanket and everything. Let's wrong. Nope. So.
What the heck?
Yeah, I thought there was more pictures of it. So there's just this one. So yeah. But see, like, you know, like, this is a heartwarming tale, but at the same time, you know, you gotta let nature take its course. What you're essentially doing now is you are teaching that this duck, that no matter what it does, it will be taken care after, you know, by humans, and then might potentially start a genetic lineage of things that might not survive. And if humans interfere too much with the animal kingdom, then the instant we stop interfering, then potentially that species might completely go extinct overnight, essentially.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be completely and solely reliant on us. So, as hard as, you know, as you know, awful as this is to say, I'm sorry, she should have left it out there to freeze to death. You know, we're going to be talking about dumb animals later on in the show as well, involving a cow. But, like, you know, let natural selection take its course. You know, that was the only duck there, or goose, or whatever it was, a Canadian goose. Yeah, a Canada goose. Clearly, it's not, you know, it's not all up there. So let it go. You know, you just saved a potential hazard to the lineage of the Canada goose right there. So, but it's still pretty cool. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so okay, there was that same one. All right. We're going to move on up to Rebel News. A report, religious fanatics and authoritarians have worsened persecution of Christians. With Christmas ending, Christians globally renewed their faith in the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. However, many remain uncertain about the future, as they are among the most persecuted religious groups in the world. Never thought I'd see Christianity persecuted again. So, according to the Catholic organization Aid to the Church in Need, ACN, the situation grows increasingly dire for Christians. Human rights violations against them in at least 18 countries have worsened since 2017. The report, titled Persecuted and Forgotten, a report on Christians oppressed for their faith, 2020 through 2022, summarized how conditions have progressively worsened for Christians, especially in Nigeria, Afghanistan, North Korea, and China. Ooh, China, of course. In Africa, a sharp rise in jihadism has bolstered terrorist attacks against Christians and worsened their situation in Nigeria and Ethiopia. According to reports, Islamic extremists killed more than 7,600 Nigerian Christians between January 2021 and June of 2022. Quote, jihadism is one of the reasons why Nigeria teeters in the brink of becoming a failed state, with kidnappings, priests killed, and deadly attacks on churches becoming increasingly regular, end quote, the ACN states. Reverend Samson Alionko, president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, said the militant extremist agenda seeks to wipe away Christianity, as he said in quotes right there. And it just goes on and on and on. So, like, you know, out here in the Western world, it's not that bad, but the movements are starting, you know. Like, they utilized the pandemic to close all the churches and keep them closed. Meanwhile, Walmarts and stuff are open. That's fine. But churches can't be, for some reason. And gun stores. What a coincidence, you know. So, but yeah, it's worrisome for you know, like, people of any religion, really. But, like, right now it seems to be pick on Christianity time. So, but let's move on up here, unless anybody has anything else to say about that. Okay. Now, we got another one here from Rebel News. And this is, you know, despite the best efforts from the environmentalists saying that, oh, woe is us, the planet is going to die in 10 years, you know. Contrary to everything that they're trying to do, like nature herself is shoving a big old middle finger in their face. Polar bear populations are so high in Canada's north that they are becoming problematic. Noted polar bear population researcher Susan Crockford examined recent claims that a population of polar bears, specifically in Churchill, MB, is declining in numbers due to dwindling sea ice, caused allegedly by climate change, which in turn caused a decline in the ringed seal population, the bear's main food source. Okay, so this is causing a migration, I see. So where's the article here? According to BlackRock's, which first published the findings of the species at risk report Tuesday morning, quote, bear population numbers up to 16,000 in the territories, Labrador and northern Manitoba and Quebec, end quote. Catherine McKenna, in 2017, at the time in Canada's Liberal movement and climate change minister, used the National Geographic video of an ill and aged polar bear in the throes of natural death in the wild as evidence of a climate change-induced species extinction. So yeah, we know that video. So but yeah, so it sounds like a migration happening. So it's pushing them from their natural habitat further into human areas. So, but at the same time, we're also like, you know, kind of building into their territory.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mr. Blob, you spoke about a different doctor here. Do you want to talk about this one from Rebel News?
Right. We have Dr. Jordan Peterson. He is threatened with suspension of medical license over social media criticisms of Trudeau government. You know, the Canadian dictator.
Yep.
The college, a government-regulated association that regulates and has the authority to sanction psychologists in the province of Ontario, has ordered Peterson to undergo, quote, social media communications retraining, end quote, or face a hearing on the potential suspension of his medical license.
Wow. That's absolutely ridiculous. Here we go.
Dr. Jordan Peterson, a best-selling author and psychologist, has received a warning from the College of Psychologists of Ontario over his social media criticisms of the Canadian government. The college, it just repeats what it said above.
Oh yeah, okay.
This action follows several complaints made against Peterson, who has 15 million followers on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. The complaints allege that his social media posts and podcast appearances are transphobic, sexist, and racist, and include retweeting Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre.
I don't know.
You see the name on screen.
Yeah.
Criticism of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, blasting Trudeau's former senior aide, Gerald... oh my god. Gerald Butts and New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. Tweeting opposition to a plan by Ottawa police to take custody of the children of the trucker convoy protesters, and telling Joe Rogan's podcast audience that acceptance of radical gender theory is a sign of, quote, civilizations collapsing, end quote, and that climate change models are unreliable.
So wow,
as we just saw with the polar bears, by the way.
Yeah. So, like, climate change is a thing. It is happening, but you know, we're not the main causing of it. Like, you know, it's natural. You know, humans didn't cause the last ice age. Maybe. Like, I don't know.
Well, as a German, I can say that we had a time in history when also people that the government didn't like were not allowed to do their jobs anymore.
Yeah, and that's happening again to people like me out in California, you know?
It didn't end well.
Yeah, no, and that's, as a historian, you know, I know about that, and I'm seeing it happen, you know, live right now in today's world, you know, all over the world, you know? Not just in California, but China, you know, all the rest of the U.S., Canada, Australia, a lot of places in Europe. You know, Germany's, you know, kind of going to shit as well, too. Like, you know, everywhere is going crap. And
yeah.
It's not, you know, to all the historians out there, like, you know what's coming, and it's freaking scary. So, yeah. Well, let's move on up here. More from Rebel News. Indigenous academic dismisses calls to change Australia Day as futile gesture. Professor Megan Davis, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Indigenous at UNSW, has suggested that calls to change the date of Australia Day are a futile gesture that would have no impact on the lives of Aboriginal people. Okay, yeah, so why are you trying to change the date? That seems a little weird. Professor Megan Davis told the Sydney Morning Herald that moving the National Day from January 26 would generate a warm and fuzzy notion of reconciliation while changing nothing. changing nothing. The pro-vice chancellor indigenous at UNSW said Australians should vote for an indigenous voice to Parliament, and only when that was successful should they move Australia Day to a different date. All right. Where's
You
Hot
and
Dog?
your Australian accent.
What?
You and your Australian accent, man.
Well, I can't get over it, mate. You know, like it
Well,
might be bad, it
can't-
might be good, but you know, I like it.
Damn thing. I like it. Very,
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Crikey.
Yeah, the two things he understands are cricket and Australian.
Continues on here to say Davis was one of the architects of the 2017 Uluru Statement from the Heart that has resulted in the Albanese government pushing for constitutional change to establish an indigenous-only body that provides official office or advice to the Parliament on behalf of the Aboriginal people. Huh. But yeah, no, like, so that's interesting. Any Australians out there watching this? What's your take on this? This sounds like just kind of it's a weird story, but let's move on up. Yo, Brados, you want to work? You want to work out with an eraser?
This $100 eraser weighs 5 pounds. Could be the world's largest. I know dumbbells heavier than this thing.
Yeah.
The Radar S10000 measures 276 by 141 by 43 millimeters and weighs over 2.2 kilograms, or 5 pounds, making it one of the largest, if not the largest, commercially available erasers. Japanese eraser maker Seed was founded in 1915, making it one of the oldest companies in the business. Its most popular product line, Radar, was launched in 1968 and quickly became a favorite in Japanese market. The smooth texture and flawless erasing performance made the Radar a commercial success, despite its premium price range of 20 to 50 yen, at a time when 10 yen erasers were the norm. The Radar line has been going strong ever since, with erasers of various shapes and sizes, including gigantic 2,285 gram slab, priced at one eye-watering 13,200 yen, or $100.
Look at the size of that thing.
That is a chunky boy.
Like, here's
Yeah.
normal erasers, and then here's, dude. Why would you need that? What are you?
Well, I could see it being used as a prop in music videos or such,
Hey.
but I don't see any practical application.
I can see why it can be used.
Huh.
It's to get rid of big mistakes.
Huh. The very
Yeah.
big mistakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's move on up here. Got more from Oddity Central. Man legally changes gender to obtain custody of his daughters more easily. Like, if this isn't an eye-opener to people, like, you know, saying that, oh, we're in a patriarchy, you know, no, we are not. We are in a matriarchy. An Ecuadorian man sparked controversy after legally changing his gender to female because the legal system allegedly favors mothers in custody cases, which they do out here as well. It's very much so. Rene Salinas Ramos, the father of 2 daughters, is facing legal proceedings for the custody of the girls who currently live with his biological mother. Convinced that the Ecuadorian legal system stigmatizes men while prioritizing the rights of the mothers regardless of circumstances, the man decided to legally change gender in order to even the playing field. Ramos claims that this has nothing to do with his sexuality or gender identity, and this was only a, quote, test of his love for his daughters, end quote. So, you want to talk about a father, you know, like, father of the year right here. This is the guy, you know, like,
Talk about some dedication to your own kids. Like, that is commendable.
like, you know, like, because he's not trying to, he's not trying to acquire sole custody of his kids. He just wants half and half. But as we all know, like, you know, out here, you know, it does happen. They do favor the women, like 9 times out of 10, and it's really sick, you know. Like, all the feminists going around talking about the matriarchy or the patriarchy, it doesn't exist, bro. It doesn't exist, you know. So.
I will say, though, in Pennsylvania, I will say they have a bit of an advantage either or parent. It's not that it's... Because usually they let you decide. They let the kid decide, depending on the situation, at whose place they want to live at. In my case, it did happen. I chose pretty much where I wanted to go, and I was like, they were cool with it.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on up here. For more from Oddity Central, Colombian police releases wanted criminal poster with no photos or names. What? Police in Santa Marta, Colombia, recently attracted criticism for publishing a wanted poster of alleged cartel members with no actual photos or names. How is that helpful? On January 2nd, the Santa Marta Police Department published a poster of 12 of the most wanted criminals in the Colombian town, asking the general public for help in apprehending the alleged criminals, who were all members of the Los Paciencia drug cartel. All 12 individuals were also suspects in a series of criminal acts committed in Santa Maria in recent months, or Marta, sorry. So it makes sense to ask locals for assistance in catching them as soon as possible. The only problem is that it was published with the poster only mentioned the suspects' nicknames instead of why can't I read? Their actual names and the same generic graphic were used where their photos should have been. Yeah, so here we go. So alias Albinus, Pondoro, El Gordo, Gomelo, Junior, Pippin, Menor, Esplinter, Raton, Cuba, Maquina, and El Flaco.
El Flaco.
El Flaco.
So if you see anyone that looks like a shadow, report him to the Santa Marta Police Department.
Good. Default phone contact profile picture.
I know, right? Like,
it's just, hey, look, it's Captain America. It's like Captain America in Infinity War. Well, just like his profile picture.
I wish them luck, but I don't think it's gonna help.
Yeah, no, ain't no way they're getting caught.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy who did the wanted poster is one of them. Who knows?
You know, it might be a mole. You know, like, who knows?
Yeah, that might have a rodent.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. We're gonna move on up here. More from Oddity Central. Anybody wants to take one again?
Oh. Clothing brand specializes in fashionable hospital patient gowns.
Of course, Japan.
Lift E is a Japanese clothing brand that specializes in hospital patient gowns that are not only comfortable to wear, but also look stylish. Fashion is probably the last thing on most people's minds when they need to spend time in a hospital, but Japanese clothing brand Lift E claims that dressing well is one important way to relieve stress as a hospital patient. You may not have your health, but that's no reason not to dress nice. Lift E actually specializes in stylish, high-quality hospital gowns that not only look good on the wearer, but are also considerably more comfortable to wear for long periods of time.
I think the company name is Lifed because the E accentuates the I, so Lifed.
Lift E.
Lift E. But yeah, no, like, you know, nobody likes going to the hospital and putting on one of those gowns and having your ass hang out. You know, that's not enjoyable. But
I've lucked out. Never had to wear one of those gowns.
I've had to several times. So
I because I had a tooth removal surgery, and yeah, I didn't need a gown. They just let me wear my street clothes, so I was like, yay, common W.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, they just look like.
I've been in the hospital for jaw surgery and such. It was part of the whole plan. That was back in 2005, 2006, somewhere in there. And then I was also in the hospital for pneumonia at one point. And then I've been in and out, you know, for various other procedures and such. Blob, you know, knows exactly where I'm coming from. You know, I don't want my ass hanging out there. You know, it's cold. You know, it's embarrassing. You know, like, but something interesting.
I did not have to wear a gown. I wore my own clothes. But in 2011, when I went to the hospital for another thing, I had to wear a gown.
Something interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I got out the same day back then. But yeah,
Look at that gown.
they
But something
are not-
interesting I learned early on in my hospital life is that you can actually ask for a second gown and you can wear it backwards, so then you can cover yourself on the back. But that looks like more like a pajama wear to me. So
Yeah, it just looks like pajamas that set excessively high on your legs.
yeah.
Like, bro, you showing up to just below the calf muscle, like, bro.
Well, no, it's supposed to be like robes. Like actually they have so you have a top and a bottom, or you just have a straight up robe. It looks like they have 2 options in 4 different colors. That's really cool. So
I don't want to sound like elitist or something, but I think design like the toga in ancient Rome, that would be something.
huh.
See, now, this is the kind of style that every hospital needs.
Yeah. Well,
Like, to make it comfortable.
well, you saw it here, folks. Like, if you're a frequent hospitaler, you might want to invest in some of these. Bring your own scrubs to the hospital. So.
Yeah, it's like a pair of like really comfortable scrubs where you cut the sleeves off.
Yeah. Maybe it has like flaps in the back for them to access things. if they need to. I don't know.
I feel like with the pants, I feel like they would bother me.
Yeah, I want to
being
go
that
with
high
the
up.
whole robe. I want to be loose.
Yeah.
So, let's move on up here. Got some stuff from the Mirror. Police released CCTV of a man after 60 pounds was swiped from a boy at the age of 4 in a Smith's toy shop. Who the hell robs a child, like an infant? What? And first off, how does a child have that much money? Number one. Okay, so that's
Like, how are they gonna rob a toddler?
So.
Well, if I would answer that question, we would get banned.
Says the alleged incident happened at Angela Retail Park in Bury Road in Ipswich between 11:30 in the morning and 12 p.m. on December 27th. The victim, who was visiting the shop with his mother, accidentally dropped the cash on the floor of the shop. Okay. It is alleged that the money was picked up by an unknown man who left the store without handing it in. Suffolk police released a CCTV image where they say shows a man they want to speak to in connection with the incident. The man in the image wears a black hat, a black jacket, a scarf, and light-colored trousers. His shoes are black. So, if this guy looks familiar to anybody, yeah, please notify the police of somewhere in Ipswich or wherever they are. Suffolk police.
And also,
Don't they? Oh, what's up, Bob?
and also notify the store that their camera quality is horrible.
Yes.
I will say, don't they have technology to fix that, where they can actually counteract that to get an image?
Oh, like the enhanced thing, like from the TV show.
Yeah.
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 To a
I know
certain
they.
degree, yes.
I was gonna say, I know it only goes so far, but I know, because I do recall they did that they showed a scene of that in Fast 5, where this group of cops, ran by Dwayne Johnson of all people, he's ran by The Rock, and they're hunting down the crew, Vin Diesel and his guys, and turns out they found out how who two of them were, even though they only had sight of their eyes.
Huh. Wow.
I question that. I didn't even question that when I
Well, I
first
mean,
seen it.
with all of this like face recognition, eye recognition technology that's just built into phones nowadays, it's absolutely insane. Like, because that's, as I mentioned before, that's the trash technology. Like, God knows what the police and the government have. Like they can see you from 40 clicks away through a wall, and with night vision. Like, it's absolutely nuts. But now's a really good time to talk about our sponsor, Established Graphics. If you go there now, you can get a painting of you as a lord or a lady. Come on, Blob.
Dear God, what is so funny?
I was just talking about our sponsor, Established Graphics, where if you go now and subscribe to them, you can get a painting of yourself as a lord or a lady.
Oh my God.
Anyway, let's move on up here. More from the Mirror. Villagers fume over Mammoth's 86 house development built in their gardens, ruining their view. That'd make me unhappy too. People in a picturesque village are livid and have hit out at a massive modern housing estate being built in their back gardens, as they say is replacing their countryside with views of an ugly building site. Somebody's trying to say something?
Huh.
Neighbors are furious at the developments in the Lincolnshire village of Moulton Chapel, where families are now considering giving up their homes because of the constant drilling and building work spoiling the country views. Homeowners say their lives have been made hell for the past 9 months by the 86-house developments being constructed on their doorsteps, and say they have had enough. Residents are being driven mad by the ear-splitting sound of machinery on a daily basis and can't leave their windows open as their homes get covered in thick dust. They say constant drilling, which begins each day at 7 in the morning, is causing their living room walls to vibrate and leaving their gardens covered in dirt. That sucks. So, you know, the march of progress stops for no one. You know, get stepped on, or, you know, move to another picturesque village. I'm sorry, unless you can find some way to battle it. But good luck with that. You know, but that really does suck. Anyway, we have another one here from the Mirror. Europe swelters in staggering heat wave as hottest January ever recorded in 8 countries. So, Blob, do you want to take this one?
Okay. Temperatures for the start of January have reached an all-time high in a number of countries across Europe. National records have fallen in 8 countries: Netherlands, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Latvia, Czech Republic, Poland, Denmark, and Belarus, while regional records were broken in Germany, France, and Ukraine. Warsaw, Poland saw 18.9 Celsius, that's 66 Fahrenheit, on Sunday, while Bilbao, Spain was 25.1 Celsius, more than 10 Celsius above average, the equivalent to the average in July. Parts of Catalonia, including Barcelona, are subject to restrictions on water use. Just days earlier, the UK, Ireland, France, and Spain declared 2022 their hottest year on record.
Holy crap! So their average in July is going on right now, dude. Bro, if that happened over here, I'd be dead. Like, well, not dead, but like, you know, that, like 110 degrees, you know, at this point of year, like, would absolutely suck. Although we were kind of close to it not too long ago. We were in like the 80s to 90s about a week or so ago. Yeah, over Christmas. Christmas was 85, 87, somewhere in there. But man, dude, Europe is getting smoked.
I don't know if people noticed it, but Ice Age is ending.
Oh yeah, well maybe a new one is beginning. Like, we've been living in a cool, well, in a good temperate period of the Earth. So maybe we're getting out of that. Hey MTM, welcome to the show. Hey. How you doing?
Doing well. Big story today, but I'll let you finish this, what you're doing right now. And
it's actually the perfect time. We were just wrapping up talking about this one. Well, what's going on with you?
Gavin Newsom, 34 minutes ago, declared state of emergency ahead of the winter storms and mobilizing the National Guard to aid in disaster response. We'll post the story shortly. Give me one moment.
Oh man, so they're going to fight the Pineapple Express?
Yeah, this is from The Hill. This just came out.
Yeah, Alice was talking about that earlier. Actually, let me see if I can find it. I think she DM'd it to me. Yeah, let me open this up here. She got this. What is an atmospheric river? An atmospheric river may sound whimsical and have the potential to bring some much-needed moisture to the west, but they can often spark flooding or dangerous snowfall totals. We've been having a lot of flooding actually down here in SoCal for a little bit. These massive plumes of moisture originate some 2,500 miles from the U.S. west coast in the tropical Pacific Ocean and move eastward. While the West is in desperate need for moisture to quench the ongoing drought and buff up the snowpacks, the weather setup can lead to excessive rainfall and flooding, or even shut down travel with heavy snowfall. This particular atmospheric river can be classified as a Pineapple Express as it builds up moisture around Hawaii.
Yeah.
So we're getting a Pineapple Express here.
Oh, not the good kind, though.
No.
Santa Clara and Uvas reservoirs are overflooding, actually, as well. And
dude,
the runoff
good.
Going out. Yeah.
Like just send the excess to more reservoirs. Like, fill Like there's an entire reservoir, like just a couple miles away from me that's been bone dry for like as long as I can remember. I don't think there's ever been water in there.
Yeah, they were barely reaching 75% like a month ago, 2 months ago. Now they can't even contain it.
Huh. Well, we need this. Hopefully this bolsters up, and because
hopefully, yeah.
Because Lake, what's the lake behind the Hoover Dam? Lake, not Erie.
I can't remember what it's called. It's not the Colorado River.
Yeah. No, what is that lake? Hold on a second. Lake behind Hoover Dam. Mead, of course. Lake Mead has been lower. The water levels of Lake Mead for the past year has been lower than that of when the dam first opened in 1933 or whatever. Really not good. But yeah, we were just talking here. We're getting all this wet. Europe is suffering a heat wave. So, but yeah, let's move on up here. And this one's I'm not going to play the video, but this is a follow-up from the story from yesterday. The inside of helicopter cockpit showing pilot being warned before crash, which killed 2 Brits and 2 other people. So this is a chilling clip recorded inside the cockpit of one of the helicopters involving in the horror crash on Australia's Gold Coast. Shows a frantic passenger trying to point out danger below. In footage obtained by local media, one of the passengers in the helicopter, which was flying into land, is seen prodding the pilot on the shoulder. Passengers on the chopper only sustained minor injuries, and the pilot is said to have stabilized the aircraft before it came down. Those inside the other copter, which was stationary on the sandbar, were killed or left in hospital with severe injuries. On Monday, pilot Ash Jerkinson, 40, Brit newlyweds Ron and Diane Hughes, 65 and 57, and Sydney mum Vanessa Tadros, 36, were killed, while Vanessa's son Nicholas, 10, was rushed to hospital where he remains in critical condition. I hope he pulls through, but he lost his mom, so that's awful. But yeah, it's a follow-up. So if you want to see the video, I don't want to see it on air right now. So please go to the underbar of the description. The link to this article is down there. So, but anyway, we're going to move into UPI, or UPI. And as I said before, we're going to talk about another dumb animal here. A cow rescued from Australian mall gets stuck in mud the next morning. Let it die. So look at that. Just leave it.
Maybe it is suicidal. Who knows?
All right. Well, let it do its thing. Firefighters in Australia said a cow found wandering through a mall was rescued a second time less than 24 hours later when it became stuck in mud. Fire and Rescue New South Wales said the curious cow was first rescued Tuesday night when it was found wandering loose through a shopping centre in Caddens, a suburb in Sydney. Firefighters consulted with police and ended up taking the cow to the grounds of Western Sydney University at Warrington to keep it safe overnight. The cow ended up needing to be rescued again Wednesday morning when firefighters received a call reporting the bovine had wandered into a dam of the campus and become stuck up to its stomach in mud. The firefighters used a fire hose to fashion a makeshift lasso, which they threw around the cow's neck and gently eased her out of the mud. Fire and Rescue New South Wales said in a statement. Officials said they are still trying to identify the cow's owner. Well, if I was the owner, I wouldn't want it, because clearly, it's not the sharpest light bulb in the drawer. So, yeah.
Definitely not much of a sacred cow there.
No. But MTM, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Bird breaks world record by flying 8,435 miles without stopping.
We've spoken about something like this before. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Guinness World Records announces a juvenile bar-tailed godwit broke the record for the longest non-stop migration by a bird when it flew 8,435 miles from Alaska to Tasmania, Australia.
Holy crap.
That is wild.
That is a long ways.
Yeah. The record-keeping organization said that the bird, known by tag number 234684, was wearing a 5G satellite tag when it departed Alaska on the 11th of October last year and landed in Tasmania 11 days later without stopping a single time for food or rest.
Wow.
GWR said the record was previously set in 2020 by another member of the same species, and the year's godwit broke the record by 217 miles.
All right, we'll end it there with that one. Wow, so that's so it flew for 18 days straight, or 11 days straight. That's
11 days straight.
It's insane, bro. I can't do anything for 11 days straight.
So you heard it. If you're a bird and you want to do that record, make sure you go to the Guinness World Records office first and get your 5G tag.
Yes.
Otherwise, it doesn't count. Yeah, there's no record of it.
And for our last article here, Big Fist, Laser Boy, if you're there, you want to talk about Big Cake? I don't think he's here. Nope. All right. Blob, do you want to talk about Big Cake?
All right. Greek bakers cook up 11,000 pound New Year's cake. That's 11,000 pounds in weight, not in cost.
Yes.
A team of 200 bakers combined their efforts in Greece to create a massive vasilopita, a traditional New Year's cake weighing in at more than 11,000 pounds. The vasilopita was baked on New Year's Eve in collaboration with dozens of Athens area bakeries and the Bakers Guild of Athens, suburbs and surroundings. The finished product was assembled on a street in Peristeri, a suburb of Athens. The cake weighed more than 11,020 pounds and was made from 8,800 pounds of flour, 4,400 pounds of butter, 2,200 pounds of sugar, 110 pounds of cognac, 2,000 eggs, 1,500 oranges, and 4 boxes of vanilla.
4 whole entire boxes of vanilla. Like, wow. That is astronomical. Like, let's see if we can, oh wow, so that's all a cake right there. Look at the size of that thing. That is enormous.
You can't even see it. It's like an optical illusion down there.
Yeah.
It just fades into the
like, that's not a table, that's
there.
a cake. It's probably on the table, but still. And like we were talking about earlier, even if you had 11,000 people, that's still 1 entire pound of cake per person. Like, good luck, bro. Like, wow. That is insanity.
Imagine how long it takes to just cut the cake.
Oh man. Crazy. But yes, that will conclude the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links you may be interested in, which includes all things, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of different on otherwise unknown news, we stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, which is 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern,
11 p.m. German time.
Yep. For all of you and all of us, I am AO Xander.
I'm Protoblob.
I'm MTM.
And we had Laser Boy, Brados, Big Fist Guy, Doom Guy, the Slayer, whichever nickname moniker he wants to use, we had him as well. Anyway, until you catch us tomorrow, or if you're interested in some history, we have a history show every day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time. Anyway, until next time you see us, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Stay safe out there, folks.